Hi everyone, welcome to the second video in this picture from Merry Christmas by Hanna Karlzon, and we are doing this red squirrel design. Wow, the sun's just come out. It was pouring with rain. Anyway, sorry. I've now had some lunch and rested my eyes, so I am refreshed. I'm ready to have another go at doing a little more on this page. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is the stems on the berries, and I've decided that I think it would make sense if it was one of the browns that we used here. So I'm just casting my eye across. I'm thinking the bourbon. I don't know, I say bourbon as in a bourbon biscuit, but I think in America you might say bourbon as in the alcohol. I don't know. Anyway, we're going to use this one. And I'm just going to block them in because they're quite thin. And I want them to stand out from the green. So we're just going to block them in like this. I hope everyone's well today. Yeah, we've been having the most terrific amount of rain. My son said he had lunch with me. He said he's got a bit of a headache from the pressure from the storms that are around. Trying to work out if that should be green. I think it should be. That gap there that I've left, it should be green. But it's not thundering, it's just raining. I haven't zoomed in very much. I can't zoom in massively. There we go. But anyway. Yeah. But I haven't felt the pressure in my head. He said it was also raining in his bedroom because he's got his Velux windows. Obviously, he must have had them open. But it's not, I don't think it's particularly warm. My feet are cold as always. And but I have got some fluffy socks on, which is lovely. But I've got a short sleeve top on, I suppose. There we go. Now I'm looking also at this gap here, thinking that if that is a line on the leaf, that was leaf colour. I think it'd be easier to colour that in rather than trying to imagine maybe the squirrels behind there. I don't know if you can see that very well, but we're going to go in with some more greens. I'm thinking myself that there isn't enough shadows between the leaves, so I'm going to do a little bit of something there. We used the basil, didn't we? I'm going to have to go for something darker. I'm going to go for the obsidian green. We're going massively darker, almost black obsidian green. I'm going to sharpen it and I'll show you what I'm going to do. It's really similar to what I did with berries, where I'm just going to pop in some shadows. I'm going to start down here where they touch each other like that. But I'm going to actually scumble a bit more of that colour around because I feel like these leaves are a bit insipid. I don't know if that's the right word. I mean, just a bit boring and flat and dull. So if we can put some more darker shadows in, maybe it'll pick them up a bit. I think it just needs also a bit of a bit more intensity of colour, so I might grab another green and put a bit more on top in a bit. But I'm just going to gently work around putting in these little shadows from the berries and where the leaves overlap, just to try and give it a slightly more three-dimensional look and some more interest as well. There's another bit there, looks like it should have been green and it missed. No, I missed, it didn't miss. Anyway. And all round. So yeah, my computer is whirring away. I am making a compilation. Actually, the series has probably started by now. The Small Victories series with 35 videos in it. It's a huge old one. The compilation, I started it maybe this time yesterday, to export, and it's still whirring away. I don't know whether I need a faster computer to get it to go quicker, but it's I guess it's just is what it is. Husband reckons it should be faster, but it isn't, so you know. So, oh, it should be faster than that. I'm like, thanks, that's helpful. But he has sped it up a little bit because apparently it wasn't using my graphics card, and if it uses that, it speeds it up. Now, in my brain, that makes no sense. How can a graphics card speed up a function? But, you know, I'm a bit dim when it comes to this sort of thing, I guess. I don't really know what a graphics card is, so I guess that I just thought it made your graphics better, but I don't know how. So maybe, oh, I just don't know. I can't guess. I don't really know these things. My kids would know. I should ask them sometime. Now this might be enough to make me happy with the leaves, but I think I'm probably going to want some more green on them. It just feels, I need to put a bit in there. I know that's the wrong colour. Remember to put some shadow under these items here too that are overhanging, even though we haven't coloured them yet. It's still there. I used to make that mistake of sort of ignoring the uncoloured bits. Sun, oh, I missed one. Sun is still shining. It's one of those days where it's like thundery showers and then sunshine pops out. I guess it's quite nice if you're out and about. You can shelter and then move when it's dry. But I don't know if the dry spells are quite long enough, or if the wet spells are short enough. You know, if you've got a mission, you've got to be somewhere. You can't always just wait, can you? I remember I've sheltered under a tree many a time, waiting for rain to pass, or at the supermarket by the entrance. And then everyone does it, and then there's like anyone who actually wants to go out can't because everyone's just sheltering. And it's always quite funny. But I'm not very good at being able to predict how long a rainstorm might take. So I think, well, I could be standing here for 3 days. It's unlikely. I know it rains a lot here, but 3 days. Or 2 minutes, and I can't tell. It does bring back a memory of me leaving that particular supermarket I just had in mind. And there was a big rainbow across the sky. It was really lovely. I was pointing it out to people. My husband was doing that actually. When we were walking along the canal the other day and we saw the otter, my husband was pointing out to everyone who walked by, but some people just weren't at all interested. And I could tell who was going to be interested and who wasn't. You know, some of the people who were jogging with their headphones on and just looking down, I think they're not, then they're only using jogging along the canal because it's not so polluted as a road. They're not interested in the wildlife. You know, you can tell if someone's looking down, they're not interested. Also the age. Younger people don't seem to be always so interested, which is a shame. But there we go. I mean, maybe they don't realise the rarity of seeing one, or the joy to be had just by, you feel so honoured that they've appeared when you were watching, you know, because it's so rare. So it's an interesting thought, you know. Yeah, husband was worried he was going to get sacked again today. He catastrophises so much because he'd said that someone had not done something and they had, or taken credit for something they hadn't done or something like that, and he made a mistake. And we were saying to him, look, you made a mistake. Everybody does that. There's no need to, you know, really panic about it. I think I'm going to use the jungle green, which was the colour I used initially, of course, to go over the leaves a little more, just to make them more intense in colour. I'm going to try to avoid the bits that I've made extra dark, because I don't want to lighten them by mistake. I just want to burnish it a bit, make them a bit darker. Now I realise that I've made the tips of the leaves quite pale, so I'm not going to go so dark there, but I just want it to look a little bit darker. I'm much happier with that. Oh, it's what I like about pencils, that you can just keep layering until it's the colour that you want. I mean, obviously eventually your paper's going to run out of tooth, but if you don't press too hard, you can just keep going at it. And even if you've got the wrong colour, sometimes it's very possible to add other colours and adapt and get it working, you know, which I think is really interesting. And I think you can do that with some markers to some extent, and with crayons to some extent, but pencils just feel slightly, I think there's quite a few things, they last longer than markers, you know, don't run out so quickly. They blend, no, some markers do and some don't. I suppose that's true of pencils, to be fair. You can layer them up though if they don't blend. And rather than having different nib sizes, you can either sharpen them or use them blunt. But I think the fact that you can mix them up quite easily is quite an advantage. You can create your own colours and things like that. I prefer that. I think that looks better. Yours might not have needed that extra layer of colour, but I can see the difference. I mean, my lamp's shining there, so it is going to look lighter anyway. But I just feel like it needed that extra intensity. But also the biggest advantage of pencils, I guess, is that they never bleed through the paper. So you're never gonna, you don't take any risks when you're using it, unless, I mean, to be fair, I have pressed so hard with a pencil before, not one in a colouring book, that I made a hole in the paper. As a child, more so than as an adult, you know. And I do remember as a child writing something and rubbing it out in my book so many times because I kept getting it wrong, and my teacher kept marking it wrong and sending me back to do it again and again and again, that I ended up like rubbing a hole in the paper. You know, I still don't know what the right answer to that question was, but anyway, it really bugged me, that one. It took me all morning, and I kept sitting there and thinking and not knowing and asking other people, and they wouldn't tell me the answer. They were going, you know this, it's easy. And I was like, no, I don't. And it was so difficult, I found. The question was, what colour is your skin? And I put pink. I was wrong. I thought, well, it's a bit sunburnt, so it's brown. No. So is it slightly orange? Is it peach? No. Didn't know. Had to ask the teacher in the end for the answer, because I didn't. When she said white, I was like, there's no white in my skin. There's no white in here. I was so confused. So confused. I was 5, 6. I was just like, what are you going on about? Right, these little bits of greenery within this bow is what we are going to do next. So I'm just checking my messages. Yeah, no, I'm fine. So I was thinking of doing, like, I thought I'd grab the pine green. I used the basil before, didn't I? Maybe I will use the basil again, because it's the same colour, so it might just sort of tie together. But it might not, but we'll, yeah. I'm going to sharpen it, and I'm going to use it for the stems, and I'm just going to put it down in quite a hard layer, like I did for the stems of the of these. So nothing too tricky. Just layer it up until it looks thick enough for your liking. If you don't press as hard as me, you may have to layer more. If you press harder, you may have to layer less, but it depends whether you like it thickly plastered on or just a nice thin layer. Mine's probably somewhere in between. There we go. And that one's there as well. Now, let me look carefully. Yes, I think I've got them all. Just checking what's going on all around here. But I think I've got them all, so that's good. So now we're going to put a little bit of this colour, maybe slightly lighter here. As you can guess, we're going to put another colour in here. I just thought it would be nice if the leaves were slightly different colour to the stem. And we'll just work around. Now, what do you think that squirrel's eating? Do you think it's an almond? I mean, I realise it's probably a nut. I suppose it doesn't really matter what colour it is, does it? It's going to be an awful lot of red. Well, they're not really red, are they? Sort of browny red. Squirrel. Hannah likes her animals, so doesn't she? It's an awful lot in this book. I just wish she wouldn't do so many rats. But I always tell myself they're mice. But she does this sort of jaggedy fur bit. And I'm never sure whether to take notice of that or just draw my own lines of her. It's always a difficult decision. But I'll have a think when I get round to doing that bit. I've got to think about these bows, what colour to do them. Whether to do them the same as each other or different. Probably different is more interesting, isn't it? And how to go with colour, seeing as we've got a sort of autumnal colour theme going on. I've got an idea actually. Might work. Thinking maybe gold, maybe bronzy. That will look, I think those two colours will work, but can I create them with Chromaflow pencils is the next question. Right, my next colour, I'm going to go for green meadow. Now this is a sort of light bluey greeny colour. I think it will work with this. If it doesn't, we can put something on top, as I was saying earlier. So green meadow. It's quite pale, isn't it? That's okay. It's nice and bright though. It doesn't look as bluey as I thought it did on my swatch, but I'm okay with that. It's got a vibrancy which I didn't expect, which I'm also very okay with. We've got this ribbon to do as well. I was thinking maybe we could do all the ribbons the same, but I think it might be a bit boring. Maybe it'd be better to do them differently. There we go. Yeah, my son was in good spirits. He's he always is, to be fair. He plays on what's called an SMP, a sort of Minecraft server. And the group of them, I think there's 22 of them now. There's a few people left at the end of their first season, and they've got a couple of newbies coming in. So I think he's trying to talk to both of them today to see what they're like and answer any questions and things like that. So that's all good. He tends to sort of take the lead in the sense of chairing meetings and organising things, but it is a democracy. There isn't really, you know, there used to be, the leader was the person who set it up who left, so there isn't really anyone that sort of took over. They just all stepped into various roles. Some people have more time than others. He's going to have a lot less time next year for sure, because he'll be back, well, once he starts uni, which actually I meant next academic year. It's nearly there already, isn't it? I'm going to come back to the basil and just put a little bit more at the bottom of each one, just to darken those edges. You might not think it's necessary. Yours might be dark enough anyway. You might prefer it not being darker. It's not really showing up very much anyway. I think I did quite a good job of burnishing with the green meadow, but never mind. Now, I think we'll do this ribbon next. And I'll choose some colours. And I think we'll do this one gold. I'm more confident with the gold. There we go. So we want a dark brown to start with, so I am going to use the natural brown. I don't want to go as gold as the coffee bean or the licorice. Those are just silly brown, silly dark. So natural brown is my first choice, so I'll give it a sharpen. And this is the hardest bit. Not that it's hard for me, but we have to choose where to put our darkest colours. So anywhere where things overlap, there's likely to be a shadow. And so I start that as a dark area. Put it on quite hard, or quite a few layers, and then fade it off like that. Okay. And then the same on this one here. And then we've got one coming down here. Like that. Now, that is our downward piece. Down there. I'm going to do it top and bottom. Like that. This is this loop coming around. We'll put a little bit here. Why not like that? Okay. The central part I'm going to make just dark at the bottom. This one here. And here we go. Sorry, concentrating there. Now what I have to decide is, am I going to put a dark bit at the edge of each of these bow parts as well, or am I going to... I don't think so. I'll just do it on this ribbon piece, this hanging down piece. I think I'll leave those empty. So now we need a brown that's a little bit lighter than the natural brown. I think the nut shell, it isn't massively lighter, but it'll help to tone it down a bit to take us down to the next colour. So a nutshell. I could come in a bit closer, couldn't I? So firstly extending this bit here. And going over what I've done already, just in case I've missed any. There we go. To about there. I haven't actually decided or thought about how many colours I'm using yet, so but it's okay, I can easily add more to extend the amount if I need to. Now this one is going upwards. And this one. And then in here. Now our next colour needs to be a sort of ochre, brown ochre, that sort of thing. I'm not sure what we've got. I have to consult with the swatch chart. So we want to start moving towards a yellow at some point. Oh dear. I think I'm going to use the brown sugar. It's not quite the right colour, but I think it will just about work. Here we go, brown sugar. It's beginning to warm it, which is nice. Just spreading it along, fading as you go. Just the same as the very first colour. Might be quite a dull gold. But that's okay. Actually, that's really near the end, isn't it? Oh well. I'll make it work. We are probably only needing 1 or 2 more colours anyway. Thinking about it. Oh, out of the line she goes. While she was, I moved my eyes to go and look at something else. Big mistake. Now I haven't done any of this. I've forgotten it, so I'll have to come back to that in a minute. Let's just get this bit done. This one's quite near the end as well, isn't it? There we go. Now this one I need to go back to the original colour again, the natural brown. Put it quite thickly in there. Like that. Then some of our nutshell. There we go, and then the brown sugar. I guess it is a bit like a brown sugar. Now what we want is sort of yellowy brown, and I think the golden sun is going to be the best colour for that. There it is. Again, I'm going to go over everything. Take the colour up. Leave a bit of white. Now, if you don't think this is vibrant enough, you can put a vibrant yellow on top as your final layer, even if we haven't left much gap for it to be seen on its own. I can show you. So we're basically over colouring everything and then sort of fading towards the centre, leaving a little bit of a white gap, not too much. And that hopefully creates the illusion of shine, because there's nothing there. So it's like it's a reflection. It's reflecting the light. Even if it doesn't look that shiny, the colour is still what I wanted it to be, so that's good. Sometimes they seem to come out more shiny looking than others, it just depends. I guess it depends on how well I've done it, but maybe also on the colours. Now this doesn't quite work because the shine will probably be there because of the shape of the way it's drawn, but it's okay. There we go. And our last little one. that. Now I am going to go over it in a vibrant yellow. I think the sunflower is a good vibrant yellow colour. So here it is, sunflower. Now I'm not going to go over the white bits, just everything else. And it will sort of burnish it, brighten it, do all those things, getting it looking more shiny. So I'm not fading it or anything, I'm just, and apart from not colouring the white bit, I'm just putting it on quite a lot across all of it. And I'm trying to think while I'm doing it as to what I'm going to do to make the bronze that I promised, or whether I am indeed going to do it or back out and do something else. There we go, there's our bow. I think that's good. Now up here, now this looks more like crepe paper or something, doesn't it? But that's okay, we can still do it in a sort of bronzy colour, I think. I'm just looking at what colours we have that we could use. Okay, let's start a bit darker. Let's start with the licorice and see where that takes us. I'm just going to put the smallest amount on really hard and then just sort of fade it quite quickly, because these little bits aren't that big, so we're going to need to get quite a few other colours in here quite fast. But we do need some contrast. The darker your darkest bit, the more eye-catching your light bit is, and it's more effective with making this sort of effective shine. Like that. Same here, so we're just sort of spreading it out a bit. Now I'm thinking we're probably going to need to go towards the orangey browns next. Now where these overlap here, there'll be some shadow. I'm going to pop that in at the end. But we'll get this the colour done first, and then we'll worry about the shadows after. So we've got the, I think the redwood could be a good next colour. That's what I'm going to go for. Redwood. I'm not sure how well it's going to work. We're just going to give it a go and see. This might be a bit too red, but there'll be some duller colours going on top of it. Oh, it's going to be, I think it might be really nice. Might not look like bronze, but does that matter? Well, I did say it was going to be, so maybe it does. There we go, and then the same on the other side. So we're sort of quite quickly moving into from the darker colour. Like that. Now, I don't want to go down too drastic. I'm going to go burnt sienna next. Burnt sienna. Now I feel like I haven't done a particularly good job of fading the colour out, so I'm going to try and do that a bit more with this one. like that. We've sort of got away with it with those smaller areas, but I don't think we can so much with this one because it's quite a big jump in colour. And then this side, I was just trying to think whether my parents will be on holiday when this video goes out. I mean, they don't watch my videos, so it doesn't make any difference, but I was just thinking about them going. I think they said they're only going for a few days though. My dad wanted to go for a week. My mum didn't want to go at all. And then he said he was looking at all these places all over the country to go. And in the end, my mum said, oh, I think she must have said, I'll only come if we have a few nights at so-and-so place, which is somewhere they often go. So I don't know if how he felt about that really. Right, now we need to go into our sort of oranges. I'm going to use the sienna gold next. Sienna gold. So yeah, hopefully they won't have too much rain and cold weather, because for my dad it would spoil his holiday if it rained too much, you know. So hopefully they can go out and walk, and what they like to do is just walk around all the time. My mum likes going in the shops. They like walking along by beach, which they're going to a place with a beach. I did say, you know, have you thought about not going to a coastal place? But it doesn't seem to enter their heads. They seem to just think holiday is by the coast. And it's what we always used to do as kids as well. We never went to an inland place for a holiday. We always went to the coast. Now, where are we going to go next? I think we need to go to Golden Sun. I think we've used that already. Yeah, it's in my pile. There we go. But yeah, my mum used to like sitting on the beach, sunbathing, that sort of thing. They don't do that now. I mean, who does, to be honest? I suppose people do. I'm going to bring this right in now. Like that. I suppose some people do it, don't they? But not many. I mean, they often find it a bit cold anyway. They feel the cold a lot more. So with the sea breeze, they find that sitting down on the sand, you know, in a deck chair or whatever, is a bit cold for them. Also, we used to take our own chairs and sun loungers and windbreaks and all sorts of things. They haven't got any of that sort of stuff. They do have some chairs, but they don't take them with them because they go on the train. They don't want to take too much stuff. They just take a case. And they just travel light-ish. I think sometimes they take 2 cases, which is quite difficult because my mum can't lift them. So my dad has to sort of somehow manage 2. But he manages because he wants to go. So he finds a way to make it work, you know. Now, I feel that some of our really dark colour isn't well enough blended, but I'm not sure yet. I'm going to use the liquorice to put in some shadows in between the ribbons. I'm going to just sharpen it, actually. And then I'm going to think about whether I need to extend those darker areas. I don't know if I do. So putting a shadow there. And here, and then here, and there. There we go. Now, what I do need to do is these little strands, and I think they're whatever's around here. And I'm going to pick one of the colours to just do it in, and I think the sienna gold might be the best one. And so I'm just going to do this. I'm going to go fade it to the middle and from that side. And leave a little bit of white there. And then on these, I'm going to leave a bit in the centre. They're much easier to do, much quicker, but I think they work. It works together with our other colour. There we go. Should sharpen this really, I think. My desk is creaking again. There we go. Now I'm going to put a little bit of the liquorice where they're popping out from the ribbon, where it will be a bit darker, just like that, and here, a little bit there, a little bit here, like that. But I'm also going to use this liquorice for this string here. I'm just going to block it in, make it look like it's maybe just a bit of cord, like that. Now, I have to decide about this bow. I was tempted to do those the same as this, but it's because we've got so much licorice there, that's not going to work. I'm tempted to use the redwood or the burnt sienna. I think I use the burnt sienna for these. Give it a sharpen. So just like when we did these single ones, I'm just going to fade it to the end like that. Leave a bit of white. Could do something in the middle though, because there's nothing drawn in the middle of there. Maybe there'd be a little gemstone. And that may be a gemstone too. Maybe the same colour as those beads. What colour are we going to do for that? Let's have a look at the old swatch chart. I'm thinking maybe like an orangey red. I think we've used a lot of those. There's not anything there that looks too gemstoney. Maybe the raisin. That's quite dark. The autumn blaze. No, I think I am going to do the raisin. I am going to do it dark. Okay, so a raisin. Now, I'm going to make each of these look like a gemstone. So, go around the edge really dark. Lots of layers, so you've got a really defined line. And then as you come into the middle, less layers, fade it and leave a really light bit in the centre. And do the same for all. Bit tricky with that one, might just have to block that one in. We go, and for these, again I might have to block those in because they're a bit small. Then these beads, same thing again, lots of layers on the outside, less coming towards the middle. I know this got a line drawn, but I'm just gonna ignore it. My ear's whistling. I don't know why. I had a bit of a scratchy throat the other day, but I don't think it should lead to anything. Doesn't feel like it's going to. Right, that is all I'm going to do today. We're going to do the squirrel in the next video. I think that's coming on okay. I'm happy-ish with it. We'll see if I can ruin it with a squirrel. No, let's be confident. No, I'm sure I'll go and look a picture of the squirrel and then of a squirrel and get some ideas of what colours to use, and I'm sure it'll all work out really well. So thank you for watching today. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day and happy colouring.